It all began on what seemed like a typical evening after work. But nothing that came after would be anywhere near typical. I sensed immediately that something about Lisa, my wife of 5 years, was off. She wasn't acting like herself. Her presence was there, but her mind was clearly elsewhere, as if she were drifting in a world I couldn't reach. At first, I couldn't quite identify the feeling, but a strange silence seemed to have settled between us, one that hadn't existed before. In hindsight, the signs had been creeping in for a while. She'd started working late more often, rarely without her phone in hand, and whenever I asked how her day had gone, she'd offer these carefully prepared replies, too perfect, too practiced. I caught a flicker of guilt in her eyes once or twice, just for a moment, but it was enough to leave me unsettled. Still, I tried to convince myself it was nothing. Maybe she was just going through a rough patch at work. Maybe I was overthinking things. Or at least, that's what I wanted to believe. And then, the moment came, undeniable, sharp, and real. One night, she left her phone on the kitchen counter. The screen faced down, just like it had been lately. When a notification lit up the screen, curiosity took hold of me. I reached for it and unlocked it. One message. That's all it took. Can't wait to see you tonight, 9 p.m. at our usual spot. I'll get there early and have everything ready. My stomach dropped. Disbelief washed over me, quickly followed by a crushing weight I wasn't prepared for. I stood there, frozen, trying to calm the storm rising inside me. The sender's name wasn't one I recognized, completely unfamiliar. But what was absolutely clear? This wasn't something I could brush aside. The next morning, I acted like nothing had changed. I smiled, nodded, made casual conversation, while inside, my mind was spinning wildly. I couldn't decide. Should I confront her head-on or wait to see how things unfolded? Later that evening, she mentioned she was going out with some friends. Just like that. Casual. As if everything was normal. I didn't challenge her. Why bother? The lie felt so thin it could tear at any second. She took her time getting ready, fixing her hair, perfecting her makeup, not just preparing her appearance, but, I could tell, preparing her entire story. As she walked out the door, I'd already made my decision. I was going to follow her. I needed to know. No more assumptions. I wanted the truth, no matter how painful. I drove to a restaurant I suspected might be the place. Parked far enough to avoid being seen, I sat in the car, the engine off, swallowed by darkness. My chest thudded with each heartbeat like a drum too loud to ignore. My thoughts were all over the place. Anger, fear, confusion, a tangled storm raging within me. What if I saw her with someone else? What would I even do? What could I say? I had no answers, no plan. Just raw emotion surging through me. Time dragged by like molasses until I finally saw her. She walked in, glancing over her shoulder, clearly checking to see if anyone was watching. She wasn't dressed casually, not the way someone meeting friends would dress. She'd put effort into this. Everything about her screamed intention. Then he appeared. Tall, confident, dark hair. He stood by the entrance, looking entirely at ease. His face lit up when he saw her, and she walked over like this was nothing new. Like they'd done it before. My stomach twisted, an ugly knot of pain and envy. I stayed hidden, sitting in the car, watching from the shadows, heart splintering. And then, I couldn't take it anymore. I got out. My legs moved on their own. I wasn't sure what I was going to say, if I could say anything at all, but I had to be sure. I needed to see it up close to make it real. But something strange happened. As I neared the restaurant entrance, the man turned and strolled out. He brushed past me without even a glance. No sign of recognition. No reaction. Like I was invisible. I froze in place. Was he slipping away to avoid being noticed? Heading to the restroom, or maybe he had already left. I hesitated for a moment before quietly pushing the door open, barely daring to breathe. There she was, Lisa, alone at the table, nervously fiddling with her phone. Her eyes kept darting around the room, as if she were expecting someone or afraid of who might walk in. The instant she caught sight of me, her face drained of color. Her lips parted slightly and she rose, stammering, What are you doing here?" Her voice trembled, thin and fragile, but her expression revealed everything. Panic, guilt, like a child caught in the act. For a long moment, we just stood there. No words, locked in a tense, silent standoff. Her eyes begged silently, desperate to weave a story before I could speak. But there was no space left for lies. No more pretenses. I stepped toward her, keeping my voice calm but firm, each word weighed and deliberate. "I know, Lisa. I know about him." She went pale as a ghost, trying to keep her composure, but I could see the cracks starting to show. "You don't know anything," she replied, her voice fragile, breaking like glass. A weak denial, and we both knew it. Her gaze flickered toward the door, as if hoping or fearing he might return, but he never did. I leaned in just a little, never breaking eye contact. "I know you've been seeing someone," I said softly, but with a sharp edge. "Don't insult me by pretending this is new. I've seen it all along. You thought you could hide it, but this time, you can't run from me. It's time to face the truth." Something inside me shattered as I spoke. The pain I'd held back began to pour out. She looked like she might fall apart right there. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Please, just let me explain." Her hand reached out to touch mine, but I pulled away sharply. "Don't," I said, colder than I'd ever been with her. "I'm not here for excuses. I only want the truth. That's all I ever wanted." Then everything collapsed. She broke down, completely losing the mask she'd worn so well. Tears came fast, followed by confessions, every detail, every deception, every moment when I had fallen short for her. How it started as an innocent friendship but spiraled into something more. The secret texts, the late nights, the rehearsed stories, everything spilled out in a torrent of shame and regret. I stood there, frozen in place, my heart breaking into pieces. I never imagined it could come to this. Never believed she'd betray me like this. I loved her. I trusted her. And she destroyed that trust completely. I didn't know what to feel. Anger screamed inside me, wanting to yell, to smash something, to make her hurt as badly as I did. But a small part of me, the part that hadn't fully accepted it yet, just wanted to leave quietly, holding on to whatever dignity I had left. I turned to leave. She grabbed my arm desperately. "Please," she begged, voice cracking. "Don't go. I'm sorry. I never meant for any of this." Her tears were real now, raw and desperate, but I had felt too much pain already. "You made your choice," I said, voice rough but resolute. "Now I have to make mine." And with that, I walked away. The restaurant door slammed behind me with a heavy thud that echoed deep inside my chest. I didn't know where I was headed or what would come next, but I knew one thing for certain: my future no longer included her. That night, she called again and again, left voicemail after voicemail pleading for forgiveness, swearing it was all a mistake. But I didn't pick up. I couldn't. The hurt ran too deep, and no amount of sorry could pull me back from the edge I stood on. One thing was clear: I had been blind. Maybe even willing to be. But never again. I was done being the fool. From now on, nobody would ever hold that kind of power over me again.